Hello and welcome to the Mirrored Muse podcast, a true sanctuary for the soul and a spark for the revolutionary spirit, where our truth is always reflected, our radiance remembered, and our spirit set free. I'm your host, Whitney Amber, and together we're going to journey into the depths of what it means to awaken, embody, and expand as the muse of our own life. Through soulful storytelling, raw reflections, guided practices, and revolutionary conversations, this podcast is here to truly meet you in your own becoming. So let's take a deep breath, soften our edges. It's time to step into the mirror. This is your invitation to rise. All right, friends, this is it. This is podcast episode number 1. And I am coming to you from Mallorca, Spain. A place that I literally had no idea even existed a month ago until meeting my dear friend, Rebecca, who is from Mallorca. And in true Bali fashion, what starts as, sometimes perceived as a kind gesture and loose joke turned into a real invitation and heartfelt extending of her hand where she was like, friend, come to Mallorca. Oh my God, you're coming to Mallorca. So here I am. Guys, this podcast has truly been calling me for 2 years. 2 whole years, which is wild to think that much time has passed. Also wild to think that, or just to even think about the version of myself that existed 2 years ago, which feels like 2 lifetimes at this point. And it has been a wild journey. And something, I woke up this morning, and we'll get to everything that's unfolded up until now, but I've really been physically very, very sick, and which isn't my normal at all. And so when I woke up this morning and had energy, something was just like, I felt a lot of gratitude, first of all, for the energy being back. Oh my God. And then something just said, Whitney, you have today. What are you going to do with your today? And I was like, today's the day I'm going to start the podcast. I'm going to throw strategy out the window. I'm not going to compare myself. I'm not going to do anything but just show up, sit down in the grass in Mallorca, Spain, let the sun just kiss my skin, the wind blow through my hair and the microphone. So guys, we're just going to embrace all the neighborhood sounds, the wind, the birds. But I hope you can hear the birds like I can hear the birds, because their chirps are, it's like a kiss to the nervous system. So yeah, I was like, I'm going to show up and just be authentic and vulnerable and use my voice. Such a powerful tool we have. And a lot of times, I say we, guys, I'm talking about me. I don't use it and I suppress it. And so today feels really special. It's technically June 6th. And it just, the energy's good. And I'm just proud of myself, for opening the voice memo app and just starting, and all the imperfections and all of the fear and just doing the thing. So that's where we're at today. That's how I'm meeting you. I hope that as you tune in, you can let the walls and the guards of your heart down just a little bit and allow yourself to be seen and to be heard. And today, as I kind of chat through some reflections and beautiful unfoldings leading up to this podcast, these are moments and reflections that are rooted in my own memory, and maybe, just maybe, this might spark a little memory deep within you, maybe even little you, because that's who's going to be featured in today's podcast is little Whitney, because she was showing up this whole time. showing out for sure and trying to remind adult Whitney why we're here and what we're supposed to be doing. And so we're going to just dive right in. And I really do, as a woman in 2025, I want to speak to the power of not just our voice, but the energy that surrounds the fear in being heard and using our voice. And the dog in the neighborhood wants you to know the power in his voice too, okay? So everybody's speaking tonight. Everyone has a place and their moment on the stage, and I hope you give yourself yours, whether that's in the mirror, in the bathroom, in your car, on your way to work, on your way home, singing at the top of your lungs. Let that voice speak. Let her sing. Whatever she wants to do, let her be free. Which is exactly how I feel today. I feel so liberated in my heart to just be speaking and sharing some truth with you all. So, yeah. All right. I uploaded the trailer episode to kind of lay the land and the foundation for the podcast, what we stand for, a little bit of some background information, but you haven't really missed much because we're just getting started today, and it's going to be a wild ride, friends. I can tell you that for sure. And I have to kind of kick this off with a little bit of background in the sense that, you know, I'm obviously from the U.S. I come from a very, I'm air quoting, normal family, but I have always, I've always strived for this definition of success that has existed in an external sense, right? And what I mean by that is, back in 2016 when I chose to leave my relationship, my marriage, my whole way of being and existing in the world, everything that I knew up until that point quickly became a point of curiosity. I could question, I could ask bigger questions. I could become curious about, why do I live the way I live? What do I believe? Why do I believe that? Why do I not believe that? What am I choosing to let go of? Why would I let go of that? I mean, the list goes on and on and on, and it's infinite. And the reason this matters is the whole premise behind the Mirrored Muse and everything that it unfolds to be in the world, which at its most simple yet impactful will be a source and channel for love into the world and into hearts of humans. But everything to do with the foundation and the creation of the Mirrored Muse comes from this idea of this moment in time, that moment when we no longer accept external messaging and rules, etc., and we begin to ask questions ourselves, and we begin to really lean into life and see, what is it communicating to us? What is it trying to tell me? What is it showing me? What am I not listening to, right? And in that moment, without realizing it, we begin to slowly step into the mirror and see ourselves and listen, not to others as much, but to ourselves. And then we realize that we actually have a voice, and that voice is actually really wise. And wait a second, that voice might just hold truth and the key to everything I need here in this life. It's really beautiful. So For me, that started back in 2016, and it has just unfolded and twisted and turned and flipped and flopped and all the things over the last 9 years. And so we have all the time to talk about those details. But what I want you to know today is no matter where you are in your life, whether you're on the mountaintop, honey, soaking in that sun, feeling free as a bird, or you're quickly tumbling down the mountain at rapid speed, you have no idea why what is happening, or what even is happening in your life, or where you're headed, when's it going to stop. It doesn't matter where you're at. I want you to know that in this very moment, you are truly the muse, and you'll always be the muse. Some days that's easy to accept and absorb as truth, and some days, let's just be honest, we look in the mirror, we roll our eyes, and might flip the bird. We don't know. It just doesn't feel right, and that's okay. That is okay. But today, I'm going to be sharing with you just this daunting, powerful, very passionate message that I feel around voice. And for us women, this is such a special lifetime to reincarnate, to be here, and to reclaim our voice. Because for years and for generations, our moms and their moms and their moms' moms, they were not, they were not at liberty to use their voice like we are today. And while that sounds amazing and beautiful and freeing at the same time, because of that, there is a collective energy for us ladies and women that produces immense fear and anxiety around using our voice and being heard. And this is why, friends, this is why. So when you feel that deep in your soul, just know that it's validated. Just know that there is rhyme and reason behind it. And that despite of all that fear, we have to remind our souls it's safe and we can use our voice now. And the reason I bring this up is because I mentioned I have put this podcast off for 2 years, been telling my friends, oh my gosh, I want to create a podcast. Oh my gosh, the podcast this and that. And they would see how lit up I was and how lit up I would become just talking about it. But literally did absolutely nothing about it other than tell myself and everyone around me a million reasons as to why I can't get started or why it's not going to be this or that, or you know how it goes, friends. And so I started to dive into this topic around voice and why am I the problem? Because I'm the problem. I'm the one standing in my own way. And so I just want to acknowledge that there is this collective energy as well as my own individual obstacles and things that I've had to face in order to be here today speaking through this phone to you. And to be honest, now that I'm doing it, it kind of makes me laugh a little bit at myself. Like, Whitney, why were you taking yourself so seriously, friend? Like, it seems so minute and silly. So I'm going to back up and share with you that I have spent the last 3 months in Bali, Indonesia. Bali had been calling me for 2 years. I always thought, of course, being a good American high achiever, that being in the consulting job would bring success and the sustainable income to, fund my world travel and my creations and going to Bali. And then the universe, as she does, the universe, God, source, whatever that is for you, very quickly reminded me exactly who she is and who I am as well. In the sense where the beauty of her love is just so unconditional. And so much so that she was like, you know what? No, actually, Whitney, you're going to quit your job so that when you go to Bali, you can stay so much longer and you can actually be fully 100% present with yourself, whatever experience you're having, and or whomever you're sharing your time with. How beautiful is that? Right? No email to check, no one to answer to, zero obligations other than to just be. And that's what I did. And it was while I was in Bali that the name of the podcast came to me. It was during my time in Bali, starting from the very first week. I was surrounded by women who were mirroring back to me all the love and beauty and capability and strength and courage and love that I hold within myself, I was seeing in them. And then this whole idea and concept of mirroring it's yet to leave me, to be honest. It haunted me in the most beautiful way in Bali. And so I was like, okay, this is it. This is it. And nothing has felt more true to my core than the whole meaning behind the Mirrored Muse. It feels good to embody a truth and to be able to show up as me 100% in my most authentic version and let that also be this creation called the Mirrored Muse. So again, I mentioned this in the trailer. I'm going to mention it again. I think it's so important. So I come to you as Whitney Amber, not as an expert, but as a sister, as a woman still rising. So everything we talk about, everything we embody and we do here at the Mirrored Muse, we are truly shoulder to shoulder in this. And I hope you feel that. Okay, so we're back. We were in Bali. The download came. Guys, I was so fearful. of starting this podcast, knew it was coming, felt it in my body. And a dear friend literally just drops out of the Mallorcan, Spain sky into my life in Bali and holds me so extremely accountable and was like, oh my God, yeah, this makes sense. Like okay, start recording. Just press record, Whitney, on your phone and just start recording. And I literally felt sick, full body block. She's sitting next to me in the same room. I'm low-key pissed that she's holding me so accountable, but not really at her, kind of at myself, but then sometimes at her. Like, it was just one of those moments. And thank God for those friends who really remind us who we are and why we're here, and they're not going to let us back down from that. So, Rebecca, you will get to know Rebecca very well over the course of time, because she is a huge reason why I'm stepping into what I'm stepping into and the work behind the Mirrored Muse. So yeah, I start to record things. I hated it. It wasn't flowing. Flow is very important to me. And yeah, she was like, you're going to do the thing. And I was like, okay, we're going to do the thing. So slowly things start coming together. I'm starting to brainstorm ideas with her. We found a cafe there in Ubud called Mudra. And so that was kind of our safe haven. We would just bop there for some social energy, amazing food, cacao, live music, sultry. I think it's sultry Sunday or Saturday concert, 10 out of 10. If you're in Ubud, got to check it out. So we bopped there one night. It was right after she held my feet to the fire and was like, yes, record. We go It was the sultry, I think it's Saturday concert. And the dog in the neighborhood, guys, it's just reminding us all, let our voice be heard. Whoever has not listened at this point and saying to the top of your lungs in the car, he's calling you out. Now is your time. All right, so we bought to Mudra, and I'm typing out the intro, outro that I'm feeling inspired to do for the podcast. And as we're sitting there at the table, this cute little blonde toddler baby starts to kind of walk over to the stage area in front of where the musician is. And he's playing, and she is just vibing. She's dancing. Oh, she's so lit up. She has a cute little ponytail. I can see her right now as if I'm back there in that spot. And she caught my attention because I'm watching her dance. She is just so lit up by the music, by the vibe, by the experience. And as she gets closer and closer to not just the musician, but the mic also, the mom, out of her own fear and insecurity, maybe she was afraid that the baby was going to bump into something and knock it over. I don't know, but the musician was completely unbothered. And the mom runs over while the baby is unaware of her presence. And the mom grabs her really quick and forces her to come and sit back down in her lap. And that caught my attention because it reminded me of little Whitney, of the true essence of who I am. Someone who loves to dance, who loves a good vibe. Oh my God, loves music and just movement. To sway with music makes me feel the most alive, even today. And how interesting, I thought, that an external source, through their own fear and whatever else the case may be, shuts that down, brings her near, or sits the baby down, I should say, and removes her from that joy, kind of removes that joy, that light. And it just reminds me how over time in my life that has happened, whether it be dancing, whether it be, how I dress, for sure, around using my voice. And I thought, how applicable that is. I thought how not coincidental and how perfectly timed this little moment is playing out in front of me as I'm actively trying to birth something in the world using my voice. And so I just thought, there's little Whitney reminding me of why I have all this fear and how sweet that is. So that was night one. A couple days go by, and I've continued to do some work and research and things, and decided to have a little photo shoot for branding and, all the things that we do to get things up and running off the ground. And at this point, I had recorded my intro and outro, and Rebecca and I go back to Mudra, and we sit in the same table. And this time we had gone and we had camped out for quite a while, just chatting and talking through some things. And it's so beautiful because we got there early enough. It was still daylight, and the staff there were setting up for musicians to come. So they were setting up the microphones, the speakers, everything. They had set up the microphone, obviously fit for the musician coming. And when Rebecca and I had sat down, we sat down right next to this couple, and of course, their toddler baby girl, who was blonde, who had brownish blonde hair, pigtails, the cutest little thing you've ever seen in your life. And she just becomes so fascinated with how the team is setting up for the musician. So she goes over next to the microphone and they're playing music and she's dancing. And then she starts to sing into the microphone, but the sound was off. How interesting. How interesting. It's like a direct carryover from the previous experience at Mudra with the little girl who was removed from dancing in near the microphone. So now this baby girl is just, she's singing and then she'll have a shy moment. And I thought, oh my God, this is me. It reminded me so much of little Whitney. And I just kind of glance over at the parents and the mom, and she goes, oh, she has a microphone that looks so similar to this at her house. And so she just feels right at home. And I looked at her and I thought, oh my God, that's so beautiful. How sweet. I love that you're letting her just, thrive and sing into this microphone. And here is the moment that changed everything for me. She's singing into the microphone, then she runs over to her parents for some validation and love and encouraging words and applause. And then she runs back to the microphone, and the staff member there, who is a man, and that matters, sees her going back and forth to the microphone and singing into it. And he realizes, oh, obviously the sound is off because they were waiting for the musicians to arrive. And this man walks over to where this baby girl is, and she is stretching up on those tippy toes, giving it everything she has to let her voice be amplified into this microphone that's not even on. But in her mind, guys, it was totally on. And he walks over and he adjusts the microphone to her perfect height. He bends it down, gets it just right for her so that her voice can be amplified. And then walks over to the sound box and turns the sound on and lets her have her moment. And in that moment, this whole time I've just watched a whole movie in my mind starring little Whitney. And now as adult Whitney, I'm sitting there next to Rebecca, just a mess, an absolute mess, because it moved me in such a way. The minute that man noticed that she was giving it her all into this microphone that wasn't working, that was way too tall for her, the whole nine. And the minute he saw that, and he wanted to do something about it, and he did do something about it, and he adjusted the mic to let her voice be amplified, to let her sound come through, to let her joy completely light her up, because he knew that by doing that, it would just make her night. And I thought to myself, how beautiful that is. And I saw that as two illustrations. One, that's how loved we are by the universe. That's how supported we are by the universe in our soul missions once we discover what that is. In the sense that these whole scenarios and the time, I could get into the timing and how Rebecca and I got there at the perfect time to see and witness this, and just the first night, right? And then the second night, like there's a whole timing piece to this. But then to really feel it to my core as it's actively something that I'm working through in my own adult life. And then also to see this beautiful act, not just as the universe, but as a partner. As someone who as maybe it's not even a partner, you guys. Maybe it's just love, which could be obviously manifested through a partner, which we're here for, okay? Can you hear me in the back? Like, how beautiful life is, that it supports us in our soul mission. And when we are stretching and we're giving our effort and our all to do the thing that we came to this life to do, that right in the thick of it feeling tough or hard or resistant, i.e. my yesterday, okay? In real time, this is my yesterday was absolutely that. And I thought, it's just not the right time. It's not this, it's not that. I don't have it. I can't, what? I don't have what? A voice? Yes, I do. But it's in that moment that the universe shows up and is like, okay, Whit, tomorrow's a new day. And not only is tomorrow a new day, it's June 6th. And I'm a big 6/6/7/7 like month day, portal days. I'm here to celebrate those. And it just felt like this hug. And to add some icing on this beautiful cake, I'm in my Venus return. For those of you who don't know, I'm an absolute astrology nerd, so those ingredients are always sprinkled out through anything I have to say. So I'm sorry, but I'm really not sorry. So in my Venus return is today, and I woke up with all this refreshed energy. And I share all of this with you for a few reasons. A, I'm here to use my voice to share with you, to connect with you, to infuse this world with as much love as possible and to expand that love, to exude and exemplify that love in everything I do, in every relationship, in every capacity I step into. That I know. But I also share this with you because these moments exist, but it's only when we are more attuned to our own soul, to our own self, than we are to others, that we begin to see these moments. And it's only when we see these moments can we apply their meaning into the active experience and unfolding in our own lives. It's real, guys. It's real and it exists, and it is such a beautiful way to live life. And I want to speak to my spiritual skeptics because my heart for you is the size of Texas, because I used to be you. I'm still you at my core. I have a sass about everything. Until I see it, I'm not going to believe it. Until I feel it, don't even come at me with it. I know you, I am you. And my hope is, as I begin to share my life experience that is very real and full of witnesses, so I'm not just out here telling things to paint rainbows in the sky. My hope is that that's when your heart and your mind will start to soften and maybe start to see a little bit more of the sprinkles of love in your world. And maybe, just maybe, you can reconnect with that little you that we so quickly abandon in the society that we live in, who says she's not important and she doesn't know. Because guess what? If there's one thing I've learned in the creating this podcast and stepping into using my voice, there's been one person who has known the whole time. And that was little Whitney. So maybe, just maybe, you'll start to give your little you, maybe it's a wink, maybe it's a hug, maybe you just start to look their way and become a little curious about how she showed up in the world, what she loved to do, what brought her joy, and begin to see and recognize where that went and how the disconnect came about. Because I promise she holds way more answers than the television, than even this podcast, than music, than any external messaging that you can receive. I promise you, she is at your core, who is trying to whisper and let you know what it is you're here to do. So, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in to episode 1 of Becoming the Muse. This is going to be a process over a few episodes, not just one, because that's how my life rolls. And stepping into this has been quite the feat for me. It has taken a lot of courage, a lot of courage, and a lot of connecting with other humans who are very quick to hold up a mirror to me and tell me who I am, which only validates those whispers that little Whitney has been trying to communicate and convey to me this whole time. So I think I have one question for you all today. And I'd be curious to know, what did the little version of you know before the world told her to be quiet? I invite you to honor her, name her, thank her, listen to her, see her in her full essence and joy. What is it that she needs in order to feel safe communicating to you what it is you're here for and what it is your soul came to do? Reclaiming your voice, guys, is not always clean, and it is not always easy, and it is not always one breath of just flowing conscious truth. But it is holy. It is so necessary, and it is powerful. Ladies, it's powerful and it's needed right now, in this lifetime, not in the next, in this one. Let's reclaim our voice. Let's be intentional about our words and how we speak to ourselves so that our daughters can show up differently in the world, so that they can see you and believe you, which allows them to see them and believe in them. And that is it. That's all I got for today. Thank you so very much for tuning in, and we'll do this again next week. All right, friends, beautiful humans, thank you so much for trusting me with your time and for joining this moment, this mirror and movement of remembering. If this episode moved or sparked something within you, I would be so honored and jazzed if you'd just share it or invite one single friend into the conversation. I'm so grateful that this creation is finally in the world, and I'm grateful that you are here. As a reminder, you can find reflections and some minimal resources for now, but we are actively building our community on our Instagram page at the Mirrored Muse. And until next time, stay wild, stay soft, and never forget, you are the Muse.